The touching tale of why this man has diligently tended the grave of a stranger for years will move you deeply. Meet Wayne Hartshorn, a Staffordshire gardener who, for over 25 years, has selflessly cared for the final resting place of a mysterious Australian aviator from World War II. Wayne's unwavering dedication to this unknown airman's grave, without any apparent reason, has touched hearts and achieved more than anyone could have imagined. At 53 years old, Wayne Hartshorn was a dedicated gardener who had spent more than half of his life meticulously caring for the gardens and landscapes of Staffordshire, a charming English town. Gardening ran deep in his family's veins. His father and grandfather were esteemed gardeners who tended to the prestigious gardens of local families. His mother operated a modest flower shop, and despite their humble home, they cultivated a small backyard bursting with plants of various sizes and hues. Surrounded by the fragrance of roses, Wayne developed a profound affection for the verdant magnolia tree his mother had planted when he was just a year old. His entire life revolved around the beauty of flowers. The Hartshorns lived modestly, preferring a quiet existence free from drama and intrigue. Yet, they were renowned for their craftsmanship. From a young age, Wayne aspired to continue his family's legacy through his passion for gardening. He succeeded, though his renown came unexpectedly from a singular event unrelated to his family's horticultural pursuits. When Wayne reached an age where he could decide his life's path, he did not hesitate. He would become a gardener. His family was genuinely pleased to welcome a new gardener into their fold who would continue their legacy. Unfortunately, their joy was short-lived. Just a few days after his 19th birthday, Wayne experienced a tragic loss. His parents were killed in a car accident while returning from a visit to relatives in a nearby town. The accident occurred at night during heavy rain, severely limiting visibility. Police reports indicated their car lost control on a sharp curve, ejecting them due to the impact's force. It was the most challenging moment of Wayne's life. Following this tragedy, Wayne immersed himself even deeper into gardening, turning to his craft for solace and as a means to honor his parents' memory and alleviate his grief. His sole remaining family member was his grandfather, Sid, as his grandmother, Violet, had passed away years earlier due to aggressive colon cancer. Though Sid's mind remained sharp, Parkinson's disease had recently confined him indoors, preventing him from working in the garden they both loved. "I can't do much now, my boy," Sid once remarked, watching Wayne transplant beautiful red rose bushes he had obtained from a French supplier into their backyard garden. "But you've learned well. Everything your grandma, your parents, and I taught you about the land will live on through you. I can rest easy knowing that." Wayne assured his grandfather, "Don't worry, Grandpa. I'll take care of everything. Your legacy will flourish just as you taught me." Months passed, and Wayne noticed his grandfather's health declining further. Despite his awareness that Sid's time was limited, Wayne continued tending to the garden, ensuring it remained a vibrant tribute to his family's legacy. When Sid eventually passed away peacefully in his sleep, Wayne was devastated. He called emergency services, but it was too late. Sid had passed hours earlier. Wayne buried his grandfather beside his parents and grandmother in the Cannock Cemetery, fulfilling Sid's wish to rest alongside his loved ones. Wayne felt profoundly alone after the funeral, but was determined to honor his promise, no matter the cost. Over the next year, Wayne dedicated himself tirelessly to managing his family's business affairs while continuing to work 2 days a week, maintaining the gardens of a wealthy suburban family. Everyone knew of his family's reputation and held him in high esteem. But he didn't want people to hire him for commitment. He wanted them to hire him to do a good job. That's what he dedicated himself to for the next 25 years of his life. During all those years, aside from becoming a respected gardener, husband, and father, Wayne did something else that has now brought him into the spotlight. This is why we are here today, to explain this story, through which the gardener not only managed to honor the memory of his family and fulfill his promise, but also to preserve the memory of a brave man who died in the wrong place at the wrong time, Petty Officer John Benjamin Burroughs. For 25 years, Wayne not only took care of the graves of his parents and grandparents, but also that of the mysterious Australian soldier. His grave was immaculate thanks to him. In fact, it was one of the most beautiful graves in the entire cemetery, adorned with striking yellow and blue flowers that grew brightly around it. The question everyone asked, and you must be asking yourself now, is why would anyone care for a stranger's grave? The answer is complex, but after a neighbor who regularly visited the cemetery recorded him and shared his story on networks, Wayne, almost 54 years old, decided that the time had come to explain himself and clear up all doubts. The story of the gardener who tended the grave of an Australian soldier went viral within hours, prompting hundreds of thousands of people to flood the networks with questions and messages of thanks for the kind gardener. It all started when Wayne noticed the grave, which lay sunken and neglected in the ground as he tidied up his grandfather Sid's resting place. Explained the gardener in an interview on a well-known Australian radio station. Wayne was not related to the man buried in Cannock Cemetery, Warrant Officer John Benjamin Burroughs. However, every 2 weeks, he cleaned up the plot, which was one of the 37 war graves in that cemetery. This made his task of caring for the headstone and keeping it in such good condition all the more admirable. "I just do it out of respect," the Good Samaritan explained. Gardeners are very meticulous about cutting grass. "My family taught me never to give up on a garden, no matter how small." That grave was crying out for someone to fix it. "I spend about 10 to 15 minutes on it after tending to the graves of my relatives. It doesn't take much effort. I've even erected a small flower bed and plant bulbs for spring, summer, and winter. Whatever the season, I make sure there's something blooming. Every grave deserves to look beautiful, and flowers are the best compliment," confessed the gardener with complete honesty on the radio station. With all the commotion, Wayne managed to find out that Burroughs was a navigator on an Armstrong Whitworth Whitley bomber and that he died at the age of 21 when his plane was hit while dropping propaganda leaflets over Germany on April 5, 1943. The aircraft went down near White Hill Railway Station in Wiltshire. It was a tragic accident that led to the soldier's burial in foreign soil, where his body could not be recovered by his relatives. "I keep thinking that one day I'll look up and one of Benjamin Burroughs' relatives will be standing next to me. When I'm too old to carry on, I don't know if we'll take over. I have 2 daughters and a son. I suppose I could ask them, but I can't say for sure," Wayne said with a tone of sadness as he contemplated the future. Following his radio interview and the virality of his story, noted Mercury historian Richard Pursehouse said about researching the soldier, gathering some of the missing pieces to the puzzle of Burroughs' life. He learned that Burroughs was the son of Alexandrine and Frances Burroughs of Middle Brighton, Victoria, Australia, with 2 younger sisters. He also discovered that Burroughs had married a local girl, Marjorie Roth, who lived on Dartmouth Road in Cannock. This explained the soldier's connection to Cannock as he was flying over that area on the day of his death. However, after Benjamin's death, Marjorie remarried and moved to New Jersey, USA, where she passed away in 2007. Burroughs was part of 297 Squadron RAF based at Netheravon Airfield, Salisbury. The Whitworth Whitley bombers, nicknamed flying coffins by soldiers themselves,